The world is your oyster. From a single idea came a universe of possibility. A symbol of trust, endurance, and human ambition. An innovation that would unlock the future. For 100 years, worn on the wrist of history.
The whole century was moving forward in communications, in science, reason, thought, and above all, in industry. Never had there been such expansion, a transformed world, moving forward with ever-increasing speed.
As the world rapidly advanced, watchmaking faced a moment of reckoning. For generations, pocket watches dominated the market, but they were heavy and fragile.
A bit of dirt becomes a spanner in the works. Much work is needed to keep it ticking.
But a young entrepreneur was chasing progress. Hans Wilsdorf, the founder of Rolex, dreamed of a watch for the new century. To create it, he and his team faced two challenges. To keep precise time on the wrist meant re-engineering everything. Smaller, lighter, yet perfectly balanced. Then came the harder test, survival. A watch worn every day needed protection from rain, dust, sweat, even shock. And no one had yet kept a watch truly waterproof. Rolex found the answer in an intricately engineered protective shell. By screwing down the bezel, caseback, and winding crown as one, its weakness became its greatest strength, forming a completely watertight seal. They called it the Oyster. Like its namesake, it closed around what was precious inside, protecting the mechanism from the elements. It was the invention that would define Rolex for the next 100 years.
Miss Gleitz hopes to be the first woman to swim the Channel from England to France.
Far from being disheartened and discouraged by bad weather conditions, I seem to collect extra courage and extra determination to win through.
Mercedes Gleitz set out with an unshakable dream. Numerous times she attempted to swim the Channel between France and England, failing each time, but she never stopped.
The sea is cutting up rough, but Miss Gleitz is still swimming strongly.
On the day she finally reached the English shore, this young typist from Brighton had made history. Her indomitable spirit became synonymous with the oyster. They had both faced the ocean and overcome the odds. The event caused a sensation. A moment that marked the beginning of Rolex's partnership with adventurers who dreamt of exploring new worlds, who would push the limits of the possible, and in doing so, achieve greatness. The oyster had defined the spirit of Rolex.
So much to be learned, so much to be done, so much to be achieved. And I, for one, never agree in the practice of letting good alone. It's progress we want.
A certain Captain Campbell preparing for an attack on the land speed record.
It's true there must be some risk, but isn't it a risk well worthwhile?
Aim high. I believe that if someone starts out completely confident that they're going to succeed, why bother starting? I mean, it's not much of a challenge.
Everybody has curiosity. Explorers are different because they act on it.
At home, Rolex was pushing the boundaries of watchmaking, while the outside world became their living laboratory, a place to put these groundbreaking innovations to the test.
Battling against adverse winds of 100 miles an hour in a temperature of 50 degrees below zero, the machines closed in on Everest.
It was 100 feet over the roof of the world.
Every day, flying brings new records, but it is too often forgotten what care and work have gone to make success possible.
Sir Malcolm Campbell shows his famous Bluebird prior to an attack on the world record at Daytona next month.
I do so hope that we shall be successful. I've tried on numerous occasions in the past, but never got there, and at last we have gained that mark.
With each triumph, Rolex was learning and innovating. The Oyster's protective casing, allowing them to develop groundbreaking new technology. The Oyster Perpetual was revolutionary. Its rotor turned every movement of the wrist into power. A watch you could trust day after day, without winding.
We didn't know whether it was physically possible to reach the summit of Everest. People had tried before, without success. Finally, Tenzing and I were standing on top of the world.
The first time man stood at the highest point on Earth, the expedition was equipped with Oyster Perpetuals. Through decades of experimenting and testing, from the first flight over Everest to this perilous ascent, came the Explorer, a watch built to be read in the most extreme conditions. The brightest of daylight and darkest of nights. From above the clouds to beneath the waves, another frontier was being explored. The Submariner, waterproof to 100 meters, had a bezel allowing divers to precisely measure time left underwater. For the Oyster, this was only the beginning. The living laboratory demanded its ultimate test. The Mariana Trench is the deepest point on Earth. No vessel had ever even attempted to reach the bottom. It was considered impossible.
Well, I would like to go all the way someday.
How far is all that?
35,150 feet.
And the bathyscaphe take somebody down that far, Jacques? Christophe can go, he does.
One morning in the Pacific Ocean, Jacques Piccard and Don Walsh would put that to the test, with the experimental Deep Sea Special attached to its side. At the bottom of the abyss, they would have to endure unimaginable pressure. They headed into the unknown.
Well, it's dark, it's cold, you can't see much, but you're always reminded you're doing something no one else has ever done before. What could go wrong?
An exterior window had cracked under the pressure. But the vessel held, and their descent continued. In just under 5 hours, they had reached the deepest point on Earth. And for the first time in history, the Mariana Trench had been touched by humankind. The Oyster, the catalyst to every development that followed, had played its part in helping climbers to the highest peaks and divers to the ocean's depths. While explorers had been testing the Oyster to extremes, Rolex had expanded its horizons to a changing world.
man begins a whole new era.
We shall be more ready than we have ever been before.
There is an area of human endeavor as limitless as outer space.
In the aftermath of war, a new world began to rise. Built by scientists, leaders, and business people.
Thank you with all my heart.
A new generation of pioneers who needed different kinds of innovation from the oyster.
I have a dream.
For those making history, the date just measured not just the time, but the days that defined it.
This oyster chronometer shows the date through the special Cyclops lens, which magnifies the date numerals.
A classic blend of refined glamour, style, and technical performance. The oyster case of the Lady Datejust is a perfect blend of proportion, robustness, and elegance.
The sky is our element now. Up here is where man conquers the clock and the calendar.
If you haven't already changed your watches to conform to the time difference, I suggest you do so now.
The GMT Master. For international travelers, multiple time zones could now be seen with a fourth hand.
Sheila Scott, the most famous woman aviator in the world, and the first British pilot, man or woman, to fly around the world in a single-engine aircraft.
3, 2, 1. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
On the Oyster Perpetual Day-Date, day and date change on the stroke of midnight.
The Rolex Day-Date, also known as the President model, is perfect for men of achievement.
For those whose days carried the weight of nations, a watch that marked each one in full. Time, date, and day.
It's more than 20 years since physicists from countries recently at war set up the European Organization for Nuclear Research. Everyone calls it CERN. It's a rendezvous for some of Europe's brightest young people.
Why not use our minds to understand the nature of the universe in which we live?
For those entering a new realm of scientific discovery, Rolex created a shield inside the oyster's casing that withstood magnetic fields at the highest levels.
We are convinced that this type of cooperation can be extended also to different fields and help to solve other problems of mankind.
Ladies and gentlemen, start your engines.
The greatest endurance race in the Western Hemisphere, the 24 Hours of Daytona.
And for those racing the clock as much as the track, a watch designed to show speed at a glance.
They are the modern gladiators. They're scientists who discovered the miracle of speed. They're explorers, probing the outer reaches of man's limitation.
Timing, your whole life was built on it. Do the right thing at the right time. I was given my first ever Rolex in Monte Carlo. It was a Daytona. And at that time, Paul Newman wore a Daytona, and it was just a lovely watch to have.
Over the years, Rolex's support grew to the worlds of sport and the arts. Partnering with venues and events, championing the trailblazers who sought greatness. Building relationships that would last across lifetimes and generations. The oyster became a companion to excellence.
When I look at my watch and I think back to the success and the achievement I had on the tennis court, winning the big championship, winning the big tournaments, it stands for something. It stands for greatness.
Reaching for your dreams is always something I try to do. World #1, Grand Slams, whatever it is in life, believe you can achieve the impossible.
When you ski, it's a matter of 1/100 of a second.
My Rolex was a tool for trying to ski faster.
If you believe in yourself and love what you're doing, everything can be possible.
To have Rolex as a part of all this is something that I've been very proud of. They came with me and they stay with me forever, partner.
To be part of the Rolex family and to be part of the traditions of the game of golf. I mean, Rolex is golf.
The power of music is able to inspire you.
I want to be remembered as somebody who used their tennis to impact other people.
Kiri Te Kanawa, one of the great voices of our time.
You take this Rolex chronometer. Tells the time of the day, and the days of the week.
I love film. I love cinema. It's opened the world to me. Part of the impetus for making the films, to try to do something that would be breaking the boundaries, something that can last across generations.
The world of the Rolex Oyster, a watch rich in tradition.
Since the moment Mercedes Gleitz emerged from the sea, accompanied by the Oyster, Rolex would forever be connected to the natural world.
Scientists are probing the secrets of a marine environment as mysterious as the surface of the moon.
The Oyster has always been evolving, perfecting every intricate part, from the ocean floor, where the triplock crown ensured new levels of waterproofness, to the open seas.
Absolutely nothing else matters. Got to win the race.
Across the airways of an ever more connected world.
The Rolex Oyster Perpetual Sky Dweller, a watch designed for those who travel the world.
To the lands that we all call home. 100 years of innovation embodied in the Land Dweller. A watch that signals the way to the future. Just as the first Oyster sealed its mechanism from the elements, Rolex has now turned that same instinct for protection outwards, to the planet itself, with the Perpetual Planet Initiative.
What keeps the ocean perpetual? It's taken more than 4 billion years for the ocean to arrive at the state that we enjoy today. It's taken us about 4.5 decades to significantly unravel those systems. The next 10 years will really determine the outcome of the next 10,000 years.
Rolex is a firm commitment to nature and a firm commitment to the environment. It is looking at a world that needs all the help that is possible.
In supporting those who go above and beyond to safeguard and preserve our planet for the next generations, the Oyster spirit lives on.
Imagine the way the world is now and think about what you can do to make it better.
This commitment to our planet is as important at home as it is in the outside world. At Rolex, a new era of watchmaking has begun. Every element of the process, from the raw materials to the energy that powers each workshop, is shaped by a philosophy of sustainability. Watches built to last a lifetime, made with care for the future.
Rolex combines modern industrial methods and the skills of the craftsman. This is the strength of the Rolex tradition and explains the quality of the watches Rolex makes.
Designed for precision, each watch is sealed within the Oyster case. Tested for absolute waterproofness. engineered to move in perfect harmony with its wearer, capturing their energy for self-winding. Even at rest, it keeps time in reserve. True autonomy, maintaining performance for days without motion. Built to withstand the unseen forces of modern life, resistant to magnetism and the pressures of the elements. Timed against Rolex's groundbreaking atomic clock, accurate to within a fraction of a billionth of a second. Then pushed through rigorous trials of endurance, proving reliability that stands the test of time and ensuring the utmost levels of sustainability, crowned with superlative chronometer certification. Every test, every detail, every breakthrough, an expression of the Oyster's legacy. Certified to the very highest standards of excellence. A new dawn in watchmaking. "100 years later, the spirit of the oyster burns bright. For there are, and always will be, new boundaries to break, worlds to discover, history to be made. And Rolex will be there, standing alongside the next generation of pioneers. Those who pursue greatness, who dare to reach for their dreams. Because when you do, anything is truly possible. The world is your oyster.